Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to easily build services within NextAxiom to connect directly to an SAP server to retrieve and update data. We'll use our built-in SAP wizard. In our example, we're going to use two BAPIs, the BAPI company code get list BAPI. This returns company codes, and the BAPI company code get detail BAPI. This returns the company code detail. Okay, let's get started. First, you can see that I have a new test project here called SAPDemo. Now let's go to our wizard. Click Wizards, Application, SAP. So here you're going to select your SAP connection. If you don't already have one established, you're going to have to get your system administrator to do that, or do it yourself. We have a separate video to show you how to do that. So here you can see that we have now connected to our SAP server, and we have a list of SAP business objects available in the business object repository. The name of the business object is listed here, followed by the technical term or object type in brackets. If we drill down into any of these business objects, you can see all of the associated BAPIs for each business object. We have the BAPI name listed with the method shown in brackets. So for example, in the employee private business object, we have four methods available: approve, delete, delimit, and get list. Now, as you can imagine, it could take a while to drill down to find the BAPI you're looking for. So we've created a filter at the top here. This filter narrows your results down by BAPIs that correspond to your entry. So we're going to look for company code. We'll enter COMPAN, and you can see already that we have the business object we're looking for, and we'll drill down into that. For this example, we're going to build a couple of services, one using get list and one using get detail. So we'll first select the get list BAPI. We'll name the service here. So this is the same as other NextAxiom wizards. Here you can enter anything you'd like, or you can enter a name that corresponds to the actual BAPI. It doesn't matter, but you should pick some kind of naming convention for your BAPI services so that it's easy to identify and work with these services later. We're going to enter get company code list and click finish. We're going to add a second BAPI service, so we'll click yes here. Select the get detail BAPI, and again we'll enter the service name following the same convention as for the previous service. And this time we'll say no because we don't want to add any more services. Now you can see that we have two services for SAP. If we open one up, you can see that the inputs for the associated BAPI have been defined. Note here that these fields are always set as optional, even if they are required in SAP. So it's a good idea to go through them and redefine the fields that are required. Either way, you'll get an error, but if you set them as required here, the error will be returned in the NextAxiom layer, which is a little bit better than passing it back to the SAP server. Note also that you can delete any fields that aren't actually required by SAP or by your programs. This is going to be a common situation where, in fact, this is the situation right here. We could delete this entire container because we don't really need it for this service. You just can't add any fields. I'll show you an example of that in a second here. And here's the outputs. The return container here is standard output for every BAPI. If we go into the Services tab, you can see that the SAP Service plugin is implemented. And if we look at the service parameters, we have the system you have connected to and the BAPI being called. Like I mentioned earlier, you could actually name your service the same as this backend name here, but it's really up to you. It's just important to establish a naming convention and stick with it. Okay, let's go ahead and run this service. Right-click on the service and select Run. And here I know that these fields are optional, so I'm just going to run it without entering any data. And if we view our outputs, you can see a list of the company codes. Let's go ahead and find some details on one of these codes. We'll pick the first record here, 0001. And let's go run our company code detail service. So here we could enter our company code, but in this case this field should actually be required. So let's just go ahead and quickly fix that first. Open the service in the editor, select the field, and make it required. Now we'll run it. And if no data is provided, our error is returned right here. If we enter our record from earlier and run it, it runs successfully. Let's view our outputs. Now, normally all address information is returned here, but in this case we don't have any address information. We do have the details here, and if you look at the return code, you can see that the address was not found for this record. So that's it for our SAP demo. You can see that it really is quite simple to create services that integrate to your SAP data using NextAxiom.